You can find me at aaronhilltv, V at aaronhilltv, V at aaronhilltv, V at aaronhilltv.tv on IG.
To me, what I'm starting to see is that this format was really kind of going to take its own life form, and it can exist independently of a specific program, but it can continue, you know, as we encounter people who have various talents that they just want to talk about and share, or they have some experience related to new thought and opinion. So that's where I am in my own thinking. I don't know what, you know, how that would appeal to the rest of you.
Well, if I could give you some feedback, first of all, hello again, everybody. Good evening. So if I could give you some feedback, you're having some really good thoughts about it, and they're definitely geared in the right direction as it pertains to how to best utilize and take advantage of the beautiful opportunities of having a community. So the very first thing is you never build a community around a specific event. So that would be like only putting together One God, One Thought Center just for, you know, I don't know, Friends and Family Day. You form a community because it's an ongoing cushion, it's an ongoing incubator, it's an ongoing just home for a common interest. And then within that common interest, you have a lot of different scenarios, a lot of different events that happen. You have regular services, you know, you have weekday events, you have things that happen between people over the phone like this. You have anniversaries, you have parties, you have all kinds of things, celebrations. And so you're absolutely right with the way that you're thinking about this. This community that's being formed is not so much for one particular thing. It's to house an interest and to let all things that happen through that interest have a place to live and thrive. And what you're essentially doing is, instead of you thinking about it on a project by project basis and then trying to take it to people and hope that they'll care about it enough that anybody is there for that interest, then when the more things you do in that community, the more fun that it is, the more people that you'll have automatically connect with it because they're in the community, is what the community is about. You know, it would be like if all of a sudden, it would be the equivalent, like if all of a sudden someone had some feelings about New Thought and they wanted to hold an event where they could stand up and speak before some people for 45 minutes to get them to care. It would be like if they were home thinking about making an event instead of just forming a church and then just holding services, you know. So you're thinking about it in a really good way there, because it's most important for everybody to see this not as a project-based thing, but as a whole community where everything lives in it and where every interest that you want to, where it houses all kinds of interests. So what that means is, I'll give you an example. So say like with the interviews, right? Say you got onto a schedule, say you thought about it and you say, you know, it might be a good idea for us to do one interview a week. You know, we sit down and we put together a window, just say it's Monday night, 7 p.m., you know, is when we have our live interviews and we have a guest every week. So that's one aspect of the interest in the arts. Right next to that or right under that, somebody might be sharing a picture from a choir anniversary you all had where the choir was all together. And then that's a contribution to this interest and this conversation around that, as well as around the interview and those kind of things. There are big projects and small projects, expressions that take a number of people to sit down in front of a virtual environment like this and have fun conversing in the moment in real time. And then there are some somebody's uploaded picture from their old cell phone that they found. And then there's somebody who's just, you know, driving in the car and listening to a song and they just want to share like the lyrics to the song. Essentially it's this place where all different kind of things happen. And because the interest is there, you find yourself when you have projects or when you different things that you do, you don't have to worry about whether they'll get the support or not. You've already cultured an environment that is supportive of everything related to this. So yes, you're thinking about it in the right mindset when it comes to that, and I'm really happy to hear that, because yes, that's essentially what it is. Other than that, what you were mentioning about the themes, so themes are always wonderful just because they give continuity and fun and flavor, and you can mix and match them to use them in different ways. So I would say like the idea of themes is a great idea. I mean, you're already going with a theme even just by having interviews where it's about artists and their artistry. As far as focusing on one subject a month and that kind of thing, no, I wouldn't. I mean, it's not that you can't do that. You might find that useful, but it's not the way you want to foundationally think about topics and themes, because it misses the concept of the fact that the goal is for everybody to just share anything related to spiritual arts. And in the midst of that, you may have a series like how you have with artists, but you wouldn't want to focus on, like you said, just one aspect of it, because in one interview, like you said, you're going to cover a lot of things, and that would be the goal. You know, it would be if you're and so you want to allow for that kind of freedom. I really think as far as themes, the only theme or the only consistency you want to focus on that would be themed, so to speak, is just that you all are doing once a week interviews, you know, with guests where they're there, you're talking to them about life and about the arts. They're sharing as far as their perspectives and their opinions and just, you know, how life is going. And it's engaging where, you know, you may ask them some questions around their artistry, around, you know, their history. You may ask them about current events. You may ask them about a number of things as far as past, present, and future. They may also share their art. They may, you know, recite a piece or perform a song or something like that, where they're just sharing. That doesn't have to be overproduced. It could be done in a simple a cappella way, or it could be done in a way if they have a piano around them or something, they can play it for you, you know. And then you can have a you know, audience-based questions and that kind of thing for that kind of interaction. And then those just that concept right there, that piece of content, that really honestly is what you want to uphold as like a main theme or a main thing that you're doing consistently. And you let that could be, this is like programming. So this is like where you have programming plus just normal everyday moment to moment spontaneity. Programming plus spontaneity equals a group, you know, in that format. So I want to comment on that, and then I'll stop there. I have some other things to say about how you do interviews and that kind of thing, my suggestions, but I'll pause there since I've been kind of going in for a minute.
Okay. Thank you, Aaron. Thadosha, was there something you would like to add? And then I ask Gail to jump in.
No, no, I don't have anything else to add.
Okay. All righty. Gail had a really, really good idea. I'm going to move us along a little bit in terms of how to monetize, because Aaron's ideas, I know I've fallen in love with this concept. I just can't wait for us to get started on that. So we also know that OGOT has come to look toward us as a major fundraising source. Now we know that's not our focus. It's an outgrowth. But along those lines, Gail had a very, very good idea. If you can check your, I just just sent it a few minutes ago, I guess about 15, 20 minutes ago, a sample of a t-shirt and a website that I'd like everyone to be able to go to. It's called bonfire.com. And so, Gail, if you would like to step in at this time.
Miss Gail, can you unmute your mic? You have to reach down on the screen and unmute it. It should be on your bottom right. Bottom left-hand side, I believe.
There you go.
Okay. All right, let me see, can I go to the website? Did everyone go to the website? You texted
No,
to us, Emma?
but
I did.
Okay.
But you know what? I actually should have done it yesterday because I actually didn't think about it. But it would have given you an opportunity to preview before this evening.
no problem. Do you mind just giving us a brief
Yes.
overview of what it is?
Yes, okay.
Okay.
So it's online. So the fundraiser is online t-shirts. What makes it a wonderful fundraiser is that we're not handling any of the money. The people are actually ordering their t-shirts directly from the website. We run a campaign. Our campaign runs for a certain amount of time. So let's say maybe we have a campaign for 3 months. And at the end of that campaign, that's when we will get our money. We can decide as a group how much money we actually want to make by determining what price we will sell the t-shirts for. They have more than t-shirts. They actually have mugs, masks, and beautiful tote bags.
Okay.
And let me see if there's anything. Do you have any questions?
Yes,
I do have a couple. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
You can go first, Miss Theodosia.
All right,
I would just like to know, have you checked out the initial cost that it would cost us to sell those T-shirts or bags?
Yeah.
What kind of prices are they?
Our initial price that we have to invest in the business in the beginning,
right? How much
is
the
zero.
money and quantity that we have to
Zero.
do?
Zero.
Zero?
Listen to
We
what she's
don't have
saying.
to invest in any inventory. We're not purchasing any inventory. The orders are they are made to order. As our orders come in, the t-shirts are made.
And
Okay. Now, how's somebody getting their money, and how? You understand what I'm saying? How can?
Okay, I got you, Theodosia. You want to know how do we earn our money?
Right.
Okay, so let's say, how long would our campaign be? Because that's what's going to determine when we get our money. So let's just say that our campaign is 3 months. At the end of the 3 months, they mail us a check for all of the t-shirts that we have sold, or whatever the merchandise is.
So the company is giving you shirts free?
No. May I interject?
Yes,
Okay.
please.
Now, you know how the print on demand that Amazon has, you don't have an inventory. You just place your order and you pay Amazon directly. And then they send some of the money to the writer, and that's the money they get. But the writer at no time has to go in their pocket to produce a book. It all happens with Amazon Kindle or whatever that program is. Okay, this is the same thing. We have no inventory and no investment. What happens is
a t-shirt is $25.
$25 t-shirt. They go directly they place their order through us, but it goes directly to bonfire.com. At which point Bonfire sets aside out of the $25 t-shirt, they set aside their money, which would be $11, blah, blah, blah. And then anything above that becomes our profit. Now, like Gail was saying, let's say we decide we want to run a campaign from before November 7th, whatever. Let's say we want to start it around the time we do the interviews. And so the whole time that that we have anything up on the group page about our interviews, people are also able to purchase this T-shirt or whatever products we come up with, because they also have face masks and they have tote bags. So let's say someone decides, I want a T-shirt and I want a face mask. They make that transaction directly with Bonfire. Bonfire keeps the records so that we know how many T-shirts and face masks have been purchased. And at the end of the campaign, and so let's say we do a sale, a back to school sale, and then we do one right before the holidays, because we're going to run it from, say, September till the end, right before Christmas. And we have a Christmas sale. So we have a slightly higher price and a slightly lower price. Regardless of what we charge, they're only going to take what they need to cover their costs, and everything over that is ours. But we never have to have inventory. We never have to go in and organize anything. People just place their orders. It's like no labor on our part. All we have to do is just wait for the check. At the end of the campaign, they will give us a readout of everything that has been purchased, the number of items, the base costs for them, and the profit, which is left over, is where they write us a check.
Is it based on a percentage, or do they get a flat fee?
It's a dollar fee. It's a dollar fee. If you go to the website, you'll see that they have recommended prices. I mean, you're free to charge what you want, but they also they have done this for a while, so they have recommendations about how much you should sell a shirt for. Depending on how many colors you have, the more colors you put in your design, the more it's going to cost you to have it manufactured. So
Front
typically,
and back. And the writing, if you have writing on the front and the back, it costs you a little bit more.
Right. So you can decide how much you want to invest in your product. You can keep it fairly bare bones and effective, but you know, there are people who have different interests. So they'll accommodate whatever it is you decide you want.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
So I was taking in everything you all were saying, and the first question that comes to my mind is, with this idea, what do you all feel is the point of attraction, the point of attraction as far as a person desiring to actually just buy products? What do you all feel is the point of attraction that would initiate people having a desire to really to purchase?
Well, I would say that one of the attractions is going to be the writing on the shirt. So the shirt that Emma sent you, was anyone able to pull it up? The shirt that Emma sent you by text?
Let me see. I don't actually have a text.
No,
I
don't.
let me see.
The email address?
No, this is actually a text message. Hold on, I'm gonna come.
Okay.
I'm gonna stay connected, but
And while you're doing that,
because I want the word to that shirt are going to be very important to the point that I want to make. And of course, we will have more than that.
And so while she was while she was pulling up, that was basically the reason why I was asking. I'm familiar with this kind of model, where basically, you know, you can create merchandise, and like you say, you don't have to have inventory. People can go onto the site and pick and choose their colors and pick and choose the products that they want, and then the company will print up the products, mail them, sell them, and then you get a percentage off the profit. So it's a useful formula for merchandise. In fact, it's the formula that everybody at this point uses for merchandise. So anybody that's online that's selling merchandise, if they're a YouTuber or if they're a public figure and they get to the point where they sell merchandise, this is pretty much how they do it, because nobody now handles their own merchandise. Now you have the third-party companies that will print everything for you, have the database for people to come and buy and sell, and then you get your cut of the profit, and it's a great thing. The reason why I asked you the question is because the determining factor of whether this is Okay, I saw your I see your text here,
Okay.
Ms. Emma. The determining factor of if this is a good idea is going to be this part, which I'm looking at right now, which is it all comes down to the design. It all comes down to the actual attractiveness of the product. It won't just be, and I'm telling you this just from experience. It won't just be that that you'll have a lot of people in the way that you would want the the reciprocity to come in. It won't be that a lot of people will just purchase just because you have this. It will be exactly where you were going, Miss Gail, and even what I'm looking at right now, which is it comes down to the design, the attractiveness of the design to make people want to actually own and have or wear the product. Okay, so I see here you got Waymaker, Miracle Worker, Promise Keeper, Light in the Darkness. Right, and I remember hearing that from that song. Is this something that you designed or you had designed?
No, well, that's just one of the designs that we're looking at. Karen is going to design something, and we was also looking at the 12 powers to go.
Right.
Yes, and the website have a number of free designs for us. So it was going to be a combination with the website had to offer and branding us.
Yeah. So yeah, from that perspective, it is something good. That's a good idea for fundraising. I will say that when you start building this, when this group starts unveiling and starts going into motion, as far as people being able to, everybody just being able to start just participating, what you're going to find is that a lot of your reciprocity up front is going to come from you having your donation information available, your Cash App, your Venmo, and your PayPal information as you are creating content and just delivering value to the people. So what I mean by that is, as you're spontaneously and individually sharing, as well as creating programming like interviews and other experiences where people perform or upload their videos and just these different kind of things, you'll notice that just from creating a lot of things, you'll be able to have your information available, and people will start donating to the effort because of the fact that they see the direction and the goal of it, and they get to be a part of the journey. And they also are grateful because of all the various expressions. So you'll find that part works out really well. And then on top of that, then you add this where you actually take it to the next level and you have merchandise. So yes, it's a great idea. And I just wanted to mention it in this way, just to say, in my opinion, you first want to make sure you lay out just providing value and providing donation information. And then on top of that, you'd be working on this operation as well. So yeah, good idea, Miss Gail, and that is something that in the formula is something that is a good way to brand, number one, and then number two, to be able to initiate some financial increase. But I'm going to tell you that the main aspect of your sales when it comes to that, and even your donations, is all going to come down to just how much content you share on a regular basis, how much value you bring to people from just sharing in spiritual arts regularly, all kinds of various experiences. So know that your reciprocity is gonna come from your content, and your content is gonna be what drives your merchandise. Yeah. And I'm just saying that in importance, just to make sure that you understand, or ever, that it's understood that yes, it's not, and this is for any product. It's not just creating the product. This even goes back to the initial idea with the video. It's not just creating a product and then that being like, all right, boom, it's ready, it's for sale. All right, now it's more so bringing regular value where people form a relationship. Like I have people now even on my own journey, I think about how it's happening, and I'm trying to help other even like artists and musicians with this. Now I have people on my journey that I was telling somebody this 2 days ago. I have people who have never bought an actual ticket to a show that have given me more money in the past month than they ever have given me or would have given me. And this is the difference between them paying for a ticket or paying for something, a product, to them actually giving me, just giving me more money. It's, you know, it's because of the fact that the value that I'm providing them, now they're not just paying for a song or an album or a show. Now they're just sewing into, they have a common interest with my entire journey. And I keep showing up regularly and continue to feed that relationship, you know? And so that's what you will spark here as you come in, as you just start having fun sharing and talking amongst each other and sharing, and then creating programming and creating value in those ways. And then having, from an administrative aspect, having your donation information always available. You know, I always put it in a nice, kind way, like, you know, your reciprocity is, if you feel generous, your reciprocity is sincerely appreciated. And that those two combined together, that's what starts really getting the wheels turning. And then you build everything else on top of that. Your products, your services, your merchandise, and these kind of things. But once again, good idea, Ms. Gail. I'm saying all that to high five you. Say good idea.
Theodosia, did you have any other questions?
No, I'm good, honey. I found the site too.
Okay, yeah, and that'll provide you with much more information.
Mm-hmm.
And have a place there, if you have any questions, they will address any questions that you may have. But once again, we'll all come together after we had time to visit the website and address any issues or concerns that we may have as a group.
Okay.
Michael, are you seeing anything? Is anything coming up for you?
Yeah, I like the idea of using the 12 powers, because what it allows you to do is to customize a little bit. You know, somebody born in May or July or February,
Yes,
they
yes.
want their month. And
Yeah.
you can personalize it according to, you know, the month that resonates for you, the month you were born. So I think that gives a little bit, that kind of lets more people feel like they're doing something that's unique to themselves. I also like the idea of making sure the masks are part of that, especially given the climate right now and how there's a concern about people being healthy and sheltering and all of that, and acknowledging that, you know, we're doing this virtually because we are sheltering and social distancing. So the mask could be a really powerful symbol for us to use, along with the t-shirts and hats and other things.
Okay. So it appears then that we're in agreement that we should pursue this. We're going to all go to the site and really look at it and examine it for whatever perspectives that we can bring to that, so we can have a definite recommendation to make next week. The last text I got from Karen indicated that she anticipates having the structural part of the proposal ready, so we can include that. And also I should have a copy of the proposal for you to see next week as well.
I have another question. Did you say that the design that that's on this shirt is another design that was someone else's design that you all are looking at, like you're looking at something in that vein, or that's an actual design that you all created?
We didn't create it. Someone else created it.
Got it.
But Karen is working on creating one that will help to brand us.
Got you. So yeah, and the reason I was asking that would just be to say this: besides everything else that I said about, before, as far as how this would be successful, the other side of the coin is just amazing design. So I'm just saying that to say that would be one of those things that you want to be of the utmost importance, and you want to be, art is subjective. but you want to be as honest as possible when you're looking at your designs, because you want like the best designs possible. And like I said, best is subjective, but what I mean ultimately is you might even want to get definitely a number of opinions about the design so you can gauge, because it won't, and I'm saying that only to say because it won't be enough just having positivity, like even with say like the concept of the 12 powers and that kind of thing. You just want to make sure that you don't fall on the side of, because it's positive, that if it's not as good artistically, then it should still be okay, because it won't. If it's not a good design, people are gonna, it just won't sell. You know, it's apparel, and what happens is when you're when you're representing the apparel. So
let me just say this: Karen is very extravagant in her designs.
Yeah.
They are always, for the times that she has designed our flyers or whatever, they have always been quite thought-provoking and interesting. And so I just want to let you know she's really quite talented in that area.
Right. And that's
they're intricate though. Her designs are intricate, but for this purpose, we're going to have something which is, I think, really more simplistic, because we want whatever that message is that we agree upon to be immediately identifiable. You know, I think that's what attracts people. Something they can they don't want it to be complicated. Not on a T-shirt.
Right. And that was my point. And I'm glad you said that, Miss. First of all, thank you, Miss Theodosia, for what you said, because that makes sense to me, what you're saying about her skill. And Miss Emma, what you brought up was the direction I was going to go with it, where I definitely can understand if somebody is talented and really good, but it's kind of a different. You want to have a couple different subjective viewpoints on it, because you might find that it's not that a person is not good, but maybe they just don't have that. They may have to change the formula, or they might not have the eye for a particular thing that works for apparel. Like, it's a different thing designing a program and designing a shirt. It's a different kind of perspective that you think about as far as apparel. And she might be amazing at it. I'm just saying, everybody wants to. You want, as much as possible, what I'm trying to convey is for everybody to keep an open mind, because the biggest aspect of whether it sells or not is going to be if it just hits that sweet spot from a universal perspective, at least for the majority of people, and not so much just from a perspective of like somebody is good in a particular area or in a particular way. So that's all. But I think that's understood. I just want to point it out.
You know what? I also like the idea that Mike had talked about their particular spiritual idea that they like. And I don't know if names could be also included on those shirts. Their names, the individual name who is purchasing the shirt.
That's a good question. We need to research the site.
You said, wait a minute. You said, could the individuals' names who did what?
Who purchased? And in other words, every person would get their own name on their shirt. Is that what you're saying?
If they, I don't know how that works though.
That's expensive.
Well, no. Yeah, you couldn't. The problem is when you create a design, the design is the design. People pick from that, so people can't pick extra design to be added to the shirt.
Okay.
You know, the biggest win for you all, because of the nature, the genre and the nature of what this interest is about. The biggest win, honestly, are going to be really artistic design shirts with simple principles on them, like simple saying, similar to the one like you sent, where it's a simple principle that everybody can relate to. And the more simple, the better, which is why I like what you brought up, Miss Emma, because that's actually important. And even if a person is talented at writing things in a very complex way. That doesn't do well from an apparel perspective. I mean, it can do well, but it actually is more significant when you see simple and to the point sayings, because it's very forward, it's very what we call accessible, and yeah, it's just, and so that people like representing those things in that way that are short and right to the point, and other people are attracted to those kind of things too. Yeah, so I'm just saying that to say that even if you all look at it and realize subjectively that you have to get a completely different designer, it would be business and not personal.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep an open mind.
Yes,
Okay.
sure.
Okay. Wow. All right. So is there anyone who feels that we're not moving in the right direction? Are there any red flags or any thoughts that we need to consider?
I think we should consider other means of monetizing as well.
Oh, okay. Did you have a suggestion for something?
I don't have a suggestion right offhand, but I think we need some other avenues.
Your biggest source of income right now is going to be providing as much value on the side of just sharing fun experiences and sharing in the group, and having your donation information available. That honestly is going to be the biggest thing you all want to focus on as far as monetization. The reason why is because it's going to keep your mind here in the right place, meaning that instead of thinking about how to monetize, which equals less monetization, you're thinking more how to bring value, which initiates the natural flow of reciprocity.
And that's our common theme anyway.
Which is why you want to, right? Which is why you want to apply it here, and you want to do that instead of trying to think of more individual ways to monetize, because it's going to work backwards. When you do that, then you're not going to be creating enough content because you're going to be focused. And again, and this is the thing, honestly, and I'm saying this not just about this. This is what I see in the same vein of even like where this ministry is. The concept of a ministry and how a ministry is housed in a larger operation. This is what I see with most churches. It's like it's not enough value being provided, and that's the reason why the income is not there. It's because it's thought about the other way around. It's thought about where we need the money to provide the value, but no operation works like that, except for, if you're just building a basic structure. But after that, every business, no matter whether it's nonprofit or for profit, knows that it first comes with creating the value, and then you don't have to worry about the money because then you're creating the value. So that's why I'm saying what I'm saying, because again, that's
our principle.
Sharing.
That's exactly our principle.
So this is what I'm saying. I can understand as the principle. Here to me is the application, because
The demonstration.
That's how we have been so successful in the past, because we don't concern ourselves with the money like that. And I'm just saying, because thinking about money, that's why my focus shifted.
Well, I understand what you're saying, and I hear what you're saying. I think that right now, even with the reason why I mentioned it, even in observance of, there being concerns around monetary things, is the reason why I even mentioned it, because I can understand the principle. At the same time, I'm saying
I'm with you 100%. I'm with you.
Yeah. I'm saying I get the principle and I see. But yeah, anyway, so yes, that's I do have a question though, because I missed at least the first part of the notes. I did hear, Miss Emma, when you were when you were talking about the plan for the group, and that coming together. But I wanted to make sure I didn't miss the top of that as far as where those plans are, as far as moving forward with the group actually being a real thing for everybody to start participating in.
Well, we need to say specifically when it is we want to get together to do that, so we can have everyone's participation, and that will be our first interview, and then you will be our second. But we're starting with us.
Okay, well, let me say one thing. Your first interview and the starting of the group are two different things. Oh, did I lose you all?
No.
Right.
No, you're here.
Okay. I'm sorry, my phone had blanked out at the same time. Yes. So here's my advice. My advice is that basically just the basics that need to be taken care of as far as a presentation of like, okay, here's the group, here's the goal, here's the overarching goal as far as creating a community that's around the interests and where people can participate, blah, 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 we can share experiences. Here's the name of the group. And then after that, and then maybe even a couple other administrative things like the questions, a couple questions that when people come into the group, they'll go through those questions, so you could just make sure everybody understands that they're coming in, what kind of environment it is, and that kind of thing, and make a greeting and that kind of thing. And then after that, and then a couple basic pieces as far as artwork. Your group will have like a banner in the back. That's something easy that can be done, but that's another piece. Just the artwork that's at the top and the profile picture. And then after that, the next step is just actually having the group be created under the account. So it's literally just someone who has access to an administrator or staff, whoever is there who has access and who's the person to push the button to basically just log into Facebook, go through the stages as far as creating the group and naming it and that kind of thing, and then putting it up. Whoever's in charge of that, and at least like uploading the image and that kind of thing. And then after that part, then from there, the group, you really want to open the doors of the group, so that way you're just starting to meet there and just share, and even when you're not meeting, you all will be the first members in the group naturally. So everybody would be would join it or invite themselves in. And then as soon as you get in the group, then it's from there, you're just talking about, you're just sharing, you're just having fun and sharing and starting to just share, which then creates the content. And then in that, alongside that, you can start planning interviews and you can start looking at an actual schedule. But yeah, you could wait until the first interview, but like I said, it's actually more like you would benefit more from just getting to the point of getting past just the basic logistics to actually start the group, so that everybody can just start, so that the party can start, so to speak, the show and tell can start. So to speak.
And that's where the proposal comes in, because I'm real clear that we won't be able to have anything related to Facebook associated with OGOT unless it looks like it's a structured, organized presentation, because Reverend Lemetria and Reverend Burnett would not accept. It took us how many months to get to where we are in our thinking and understanding? Okay, so I'm pretty clear that we may have to do some modification to your suggestion. I'm not assured that they would say, okay, that's a good idea. You all start your group and let's see how that goes, because that's what it looks like from somebody on the outside.
And I understand you that well, and I think that the point would be to explain it better, because that's totally not what it is. It's almost like if you were to have an event at OGOT and the event was structured. OGOT is structured, right? That's the housing of the event. That's the organization. Then the event itself has a structure to it, And then within that structure, even if it's a program, you have a part of the program where everybody's hanging out, talking and sharing. And it's not an anything goes thing. It's housed in a structure. So what I'm trying to say is they just need to be explained the right way so that they can actually get the concept. Now, I'm not saying they're going to agree with it, but if they don't agree with it, then we're talking about a whole different issue, because then that means that they would actually be totally against really what a group is about, period. Because as soon as you have members, they have the ability to post, and you want that. That's the kind of environment you want. But you can, and I will say this, that you do have ways that you can keep putting up, you can put up like a bunch of restrictions and that kind of thing. So you can have a group where people can't even post unless they try to post, and then an administrator looks at every post and decides to approve it. You could have that, and that's something that might be a part of the steps if it's really like that. But I think more than anything, though, the most important part is to actually have a succinct writing to explain to them, really explain it to them right way, to put them in the right mindset so they don't compare it to something else that is not. Because otherwise, like I say, now the page when the overall page for the church, that place is a place where you would have more so the mindset of like, okay, this is very, very specific. There's only one post that happens, and that post is curated by the administrators on this page, so nobody else can even post. They can comment on it and that kind of thing, but they can't even post. That's more of a page mentality, which is good, because what will happen with this is, as this moves forward, then you will put like the interviews and those kind of things on the page, as well as it be shared in a group too. But it's two slightly different environments that caters to two different aspects of enjoying that content or engaging in that interest and that kind of thing. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's just some explaining, because otherwise they're not even saying yes if they say yes if it's not in the vein of like what a group is about. You actually not even benefit from having a group. You might as well not even have a group.
So, Aaron, you're saying that they can have two ways to enter into the group?
No, I was talking about two different aspects of Facebook. So basically,
okay. All right,
you have a Facebook, right? Yeah, you have the concept of a page, which is just like some company or some person that's just their stuff, and they're the ones that's just posting, and it's just, and people can comment and that kind of thing on it, but nobody else can put a post on that page. And then you have the group, which is more about like a collective sharing, even though you still have administrators from group that can control things, but it's more of an environment that's about collective sharing from the members, as well as the administrators, instead of just the administrators like on a page.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All righty. Well, we have our work cut out for us, because we do need a simple statement that clarifies. And you see, what I see is a concern from the ministry leadership is the identity of OGOT, and having, realistically, from their perspective, having control over what is posted, however it gets there, that represents OGOT. And quite honestly, we one of our reverends is a micromanager, and she acknowledges that. So we'll just see how that goes. We'll just have to see what happens with that.
And I want to say this. Go ahead.
Go ahead,
Ms. Theodosia.
No, Aaron, please go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. What I was gonna say was, let me tell you what I predict, right? And this is just me working with this kind of thing, working with different people, different mindsets, different levels of understanding of things. What I really predict is, and this is why actually, I have the email. This is why I was mentioning about the videos and about the other members and other staff being able to experience some of these experiences. What I sense more so will happen is because of a lack of like understanding and true like in touchness, like with regard to this, there'll be certain fears that will be there that aren't intentional. It's just because of the unknown, and they won't be fears that actually are that actually makes sense with the equation, but they come from like when you just don't know. When you don't know, then there are many things that you may think about that may not even be relevant, or they may actually be solved and not even an issue, but you just don't know though, because you don't have any experience with it. And when you try to compare it to something else that is not, then, then you're looking at it the wrong way. So I think ultimately what will happen will be that there might be a few points. It might be a little bit as far as it just working through. And I believe it'll get there, but it's going to come from more education and other people being more informed and having more of a real experiential in touchness about it. Yeah, because there's just some things when you're in touch with it, you realize, oh, you don't have to even worry about that because it works itself out in the formula, or it's not like that. Things don't happen like, but you don't know that if you just have never experienced it, and when you're comparing it to other things like I said, that unfortunately you might not realize that it doesn't compare to. It's not the same thing. So yeah, that's really honestly just what I predict would be just the little rocky points. And like I said, I believe it'll pan itself out, but it's going to come from the interest of those. There's going to come from the interest of those that this will go through. It's going to have to come from their interest in actually learning and getting a little bit more in on, even trying it out, even with going on Facebook and just joining another group that's of their interests and just feeling it out, learning more about it. Yeah, because you won't be able to just trust if you just don't know. So yeah, but I believe the first part as far as the write up, Miss Emma, and with how, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to like default this on you, because it could be someone else, but I think that with the way that you write, I really think that the first part of it is just starting off with a basic eloquence with like, okay, here's the goal of the group, here's the idea, here's what we came up as far as the name, here's the overall tenure, and then here's how we do it. And then from there, you're going to get flooded with a bunch of questions, some which will be irrelevant, but like I said, it just will be based off a lack of information, and then some which will be relevant. And then we just sort through those questions to get the confidence there through delivering the answers and encouraging even more education and in touchness with the thing. And then eventually it'll be all comfortable with saying, okay. But yeah, there's a gap there right now, and it's just natural. It's just natural because of technology, and it's natural when, like, if you don't deal with these things, there are a lot of things that are unknown and you're iffy about.
Okay. Well, then for next week, we need a summary statement.
Mm-hmm. And Ms. Emma, you and I can talk. We can have a conversation that's just you and I, where I can get, it could just be you and I, where I could share with you, what the direction of it, and then you could take that and be able to, we could bounce back and
get it started, and then I'll share that with the rest of the team, and then we'll all, we'll fine tune it together.
Right.
Okay, that sounds good. What day is best for you that we can have this?
Actually, I'm pretty open because more than likely I'll probably do it on the go where I don't have to sit in front of my computer. So, what are we looking at? Today is Monday.
The 20th.
I'm available. To be honest, I mean, we could, because it'll probably be like maybe, you know, half an hour, 45-minute convo on the go. I could do it as early as tomorrow or Wednesday morning. Yeah, I'm open. We'll text offline and we'll figure out a time. But yeah, that'll work.
Okay. Alrighty. Does Dosha, you had started to say something.
No, I'm okay.
Okay. All right, Gail. Comments? Observations?
Other than I receive Aaron's prediction.
Okay.
Thank you. Wow, thank you, Ms. Theodosia.
I received that.
Okay. Me too. All right, Michael. Anything you want to add?
Aaron, I'm on board, brother. I think what you're talking about here is brilliant. And you're right. What we're really doing, you guys, is setting the tone for November and way beyond. Basically, we're establishing culture.
Yeah.
And,
Yes. You said the word.
And that's the value we're going to add to this thing. Is that it's way bigger than just the one event. It allows us to do a whole lot of different things, but it establishes a real identity, not just for OGOT, but this ministry, and even for us as individuals. I mean, that's exciting, man. That really is exciting.
Yeah, and it really does actually activate what you all foundationally are just interested in, period. What brings you all together here as a ministry. Like literally it just caters to the deepest thing that you all have a passion and a love for, you know? And so, yeah, it's an exciting thing. That's why I say once you get through the rocky stages and then it's seen in action, then it's like, oh wow, that is really cool. That is really fun. That is really, then it'll just be, I mean, when I tell you all on a day-to-day basis with doing this, it never feels like work to me when it comes to creating and sharing and getting the reciprocity from it. But it's just because of igniting this and being able to flow in this way. So I'm really excited that for everybody here, it's, to be honest, you all together are going to be the real change as far as the real demonstration, and not even just from. It's going to be visual and seen, you know, as you go forward with everything, and what you create, but also just in the way you are talking, how you're thinking, even just, you're exhibiting just on a personal level you're exhibiting and exuding a particular kind of energy that naturally to other people that you're connected with in this community they're gonna see and feel. That's going to be the biggest demonstration, because some people are going to just honestly just be held up by just their natural fear and their lack of desire to really go beyond that, just kind of holding on to what they at least feels familiar and comfortable. But then when they see their friends being open to new things, it's going to be like, wow, and saying new things. So that's one thing why I'm really, really excited and happy for this time, you know, that we're working together, because that kind of, to help without that kind of evolution and process.
Well, thank you for jumping in to guide us through this, because like I said, my favorite decade was in 1980s. I was real comfortable there. And my daughter tears all the time. Oh my goodness. So she says constantly, Mommy, you know, it's not 1980. You need to, you know. And I said, well, I am. You know, I thought I was, but no, I guess I didn't. I want to thank you on a personal basis for, you know, guiding me as well as all of us really through a whole new way of thinking. And I'm not at all fearful, which I was before, because I just didn't want to touch Facebook. I've had an account with Facebook since 2009 and not used it. So, just full of mistrust with that. But my comfort level is completely different now.
Right.
And I see it as something that's accessible that I can use. So it's 8:21. It's 8:21. I know folks have things they need to do.
Let me give you something. Okay. I wanted to give something back to you real quick. First of all, thank you for what you just said. And I also want to say, believe it or not, because I'm an 80s baby, right? So the 80s are important to me. And here's what I'm really doing. And this is why I get so excited to do this. What I'm actually doing is bringing the virtues from the 80s. I'm bringing the virtues and the things that was the real tangible stuff that we all can identify with. And I'm just bringing it into the new age. That's why this is so fun. Because once you get people past a new technology kind of thing, and then they get right back to the way that they've been just living, but just through a new, then it all comes together. And so that's why I can appreciate the 80s too, because we're bringing 80s principles to 2020 technology.
All right. That's wonderful. Wonderful. Well, thank you for that. Oh my goodness. All righty. Does anybody else want to add a comment before we draw to a close this evening? Okay.
I'm okay.
I think we've had a really uplifting discussion as always. So I just want to thank everybody again. This is a wonderful class. This is a graduate level class in technology and applying principle to how we live and what we say we believe. So, and in our mission and vision statement, we talk about making new thought principles available to everyone because the whole world should have access. No one should be sitting on this information. And so we are able, through this technology and, to be able to share it. And what occurs to me is that you get what you ask for. And this is what we've asked for. And it showed up as Aaron, an 80s baby. So, I just think we are definitely on the right track. Everything about this feels wonderful, positive, enlightening. It is light-filled, and it's an exercise, a demonstration of how we are the love that we say we have for, for humanity, and then how we are able to tap into our connection to spirit and be guided by that. So, if we can take a moment now to settle into the space.
So to help me to make more content like this, please see the info in the description or comments. And thanks so much for watching. And if we're not already connected on all my other homes, the Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, etc., where you can find me at aaronhilltv, V at aaronhilltv, V at aaronhilltv, V at aaronhilltv.tv on IG.